I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState with Tiny and Katie.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State. Our next guest today, we have Addie Nardi, who is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Washington County, joining us again. So thank you so much for taking time to talk to us on Let's Talk Tri-State.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now let's start. I know you have a couple big events coming up, but before we really dive into those, for anybody who's new, what is the purpose of the Boys and Girls Club?
So the Boys and Girls Club of Washington County has been around for 84 years, and we really our sole purpose is to just provide out-of-school time resources for the kids of Washington County. So we serve kids 6 to 18. We will have, when our new building's finished, we'll have 4 traditional clubs in Hagerstown. We have 2 school sites in Hagerstown, and then we have a site in Cumberland as well. And so, and really our goal is to just really capture those those after school hours and then the summertime to provide kids a safe place to be in those crucial hours when like parents might be working or they really have nothing to do.
How many students do you have?
So everything's a little mixed up right now because that 4th building is just finishing. But I think the last number I got, like for our weekly average daily attendance, was something around 480. Yeah, and most of those are in Washington County.
That sounds like a large number.
Yeah.
That is a large number,
It
right?
is, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And when our new building is finished, we'll be able to serve about 200 more. So,
And some of the programs are at the building and some are in the schools as well?
yeah, so we
okay.
run 2 extended learning programs in Washington County. One's at Pangbourne Elementary.
I'm sorry, I did my student teaching at
did
Pangbourne.
you?
Yes, I did. When I taught elementary school for years, and then when I was getting my master's, my assigned school was Pangbourne.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay,
loved it
yeah.
there.
So we serve about 180 kids there in a partnership with Pangbourne through the Maryland Blueprint for Education. And then at Jonathan Hager, we run a 21st Century Community Learning Center, and we serve about 150 kids there. So they're our biggest sites right now. Mm-hmm. We also have a club site. We have clubs in Frederick Manor, which is in the south end of Hagerstown, Noland Village, which is towards the Williamsport area, and then the Elgin Station Community Center, which serves the West End. Our new building will be where our prior main clubhouse was on Pennsylvania Avenue.
I mean, Washington County is a huge county.
It is.
It's large.
And as many kids as we serve, we're never going to reach all that we need to. So we try and be very smart and strategic about partnering with other out-of-school time organizations like Girls Inc. And really, because at the end of the day, it really takes all of us. So
Is it for anybody? What are the requirements?
So it is. I mean, our mission kind of designates at-risk kids, but couldn't you really make a case that any kid could be an at-risk kid? So I will say we tend to operate more in lower income areas. our kids, I just finished our demographics for 2020. What year is this? 2024. So for last year. And what we saw, by and large, the bulk of our kids attend Title I schools, which are lower income schools in Maryland. They live in public housing, which also has some income constraints on it. And then really a lot of our kids, a lot of them are being raised by single parents, or they're being raised by someone other than their parents.
Yeah, sure.
We have a lot of kids who are in kinship care. And then we kind of try to be smart about partnering to serve those kids even further by partnering with like the Washington County Public Schools to serve kids who have been identified as homeless or in foster care in a certain amount of time. They're served through the government. It's a government mandate, but it just provides them consistency, which is really important. So we try and make sure that we're serving the kids, because at the end of the day, it costs, if you're paying to come to my club, to the Boys and Girls Club, you're paying like $15 a month, but most of our families don't pay.
Right.
We're a mission-driven organization.
What are some of the activities and clubs that you offer?
Sure. So, we try to meet the kids where they are and see and get them, where they're interested. So we do run a lot of gym activities. So all of my clubs have gyms attached to them, like basketball gyms. But then we also have programming through Boys and Girls Clubs of America that focuses very much on like helping these kids become functional adults, right? So it's a program like Smart Girls that'll teach girls about, appropriate dating or how to deal with bullies or like Passport to Manhood, which will teach the boys how to really become, be good men, right? We have focused in the last couple of years also on some social emotional learning programs. We're not therapists and we don't try to be, but we have the tools to bring in this programming to kind of just help our members. And then all of our clubs right now have a state-of-the-art STEM lab from the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation. So, and our kids love that.
I'm sure they do. Yes.
And that's officially beyond what I know. Mm-hmm. So luckily I have good staff who know how to work those STEM labs because I have no clue.
It's all encompassing. It's, a little bit of academics along with character building. It sounds like you're kind of focusing on the entire individual.
Yep.
And how are you funded? Or is it a 501c3?
Yeah. So really, we charge our families that small nominal $15 a month.
But if they can't pay it,
we don't get upset about it.
Sure.
We are by and large funded through the generosity of our community, grants, events, and really that's been how we've been able to maintain serving these kids.
And so that kind of is a springboard for what we're going to go into next. You were talking about events. It helps with the funding, and you have a big event coming up. It's the youth dinner.
The Youth of the Year dinner, yeah. So for years, the Boys and Girls Club had an event called a Steak and Burger Dinner, and that's like a Boys and Girls Club national event. We took that and kind of retooled it in 2020, and then COVID hit, and we couldn't have it. But the focus has always been on what's going on in the club and our Youth of the Year. We're bringing it back this year, and so the way it'll look this year is we will honor our Youth of the Year. So Boys and Girls Clubs of America has a whole Youth of the Year program, and it's a leadership program for teens. And they have to go through a whole application process. They have to sit in front of a panel of judges, and then they have to write essays and get letters of recommendation. I mean, it's very thorough. Mm-hmm. Our winner will then compete at the state level in May. And if they win at the state level, then they'll go to the regionals. And the great thing about this is that at every step along the way, there's a scholarship attached to it. So it's like $1,000 here, but if they win state, it's $10,000. Wow. If they win regional, it's more. And then there's a National Youth of the Year through Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And whoever wins that gets a car.
Wow.
a big time, like a huge scholarship. And they really become an ambassador for all the Boys and Girls Clubs members across the world because it's a worldwide organization.
Have you already chosen your
so
winner? I'm not going to ask you to tell me. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So we Now, since COVID, we've been rebuilding our teen program. My Frederick Manor Club has a very strong program, and so all of my nominees came out of that club. And so we do have a winner. And so we're going to honor her on Thursday and give her a chance to kind of tell her story and kind of prepare her for her May competition where she'll go to the state competition.
Does she know already that she won?
So she does know because her unit director wanted it that way, thought it would be better for her that way so that we could further prepare her. At the club level, the most important thing we do, you could take away every program that we run, and as long as those relationships are there, like that's what's important. And so when my unit director from that club, who was a Youth of the Year herself in like 2017, came to me and said, I don't want it to be a surprise. I want to tell her ahead of time. I was like, you know her.
I can imagine they probably would want to not have that shock, you know, because you're speechless. You don't know what to say going into it, knowing, you know, having a speech prepared and sharing a story. How many applicants did you have?
This year we had 2 or 3. In past years we've had more, but again, we're rebuilding our teen program. Our hope is when we get into our new building, the teens will have a whole center kind of dedicated to them within the building. And so we're hopeful we'll be able to really rebuild our program then.
And then outside of the award ceremony, what else is in the dinner? I'm assuming there's...
So we'll actually... As we were transforming this from like a steak and burger dinner to this Youth of the Year celebration, we also decided to start honoring someone in the community who has been who has worked hard to take care of our community's youth, because there's a lot. I mean, in Washington County, there's a lot of people who really step up for our kids. And so this year, we're actually honoring Shelley McIntyre. So Shelley was a Hagerstown City Councilwoman for years, and when she was on the City Council, she was so focused on kids and like a broad array. So she started the Hagerstown Youth Council, which gave exceptional kids in the city a voice in the city, right? And that youth council still continues. And then in around 2018, we had some big issues with violence among our kids, and I went to her. We had an incident at one of our clubs, and it was kind of gang affiliated. And so I went to her and I was like, I just don't even, and I barely knew her at the time. And I was like, I just can't get anyone to like hear what I'm saying. I feel like I'm like screaming in a wind tunnel. And she literally, step by step with me, we developed this violence prevention partnership in Washington County. And it's still building. But the thing is, and the reason why she's the winner of this year's award is she took the time to research and be very thoughtful and to make sure that what she was bringing into our community would fit our community. And, you know, she's out of office now and she's moving on to, you know, other things. And so it felt like an appropriate time to kind of thank her on behalf of those of us who are trying to save the kids in Washington County, because she did a lot to help with that.
It sounds like it. That's great. Now, is the dinner open for the public?
Yeah, it is. So anyone can buy tickets. We still have some seats available. It's $80 a ticket or like $150 for a couple. It'll be at Fountainhead Country Club on Thursday night. Now listen, the University of Maryland won last night, and their Sweet 16 games Thursday night at 7:30.
Oh, my goodness.
But because I am a Maryland fan, I can promise you we will get you out of the dinner in time to see the bulk of the game.
I'm sure that's very important.
It's very important.
Yes. I like the consideration. That's very nice of you, Addie. I love that. Now, along with the dinner, you have another project is it ongoing or just starting, the building project?
So, we are replacing our main clubhouse.
Okay.
So that clubhouse was on Pennsylvania Avenue. It was, and the former clubhouse was over 100 years old. It had been a Fairchild building at some point. It was donated to the club in the 70s, and man, we used it. I mean, used and abused that building. And so it became, it got to a point where we realized we had to replace it, and we embarked on a capital campaign. And we started building about a year ago. It'll be a year in April. And what we have now and what we will move into in time for summer camp is a 24,000 square foot state-of-the-art clubhouse.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Yeah. So it'll have a dedicated STEM lab, a dedicated arts and crafts space. It'll have a dedicated teen center, like we had talked about, like a space where the little kids can't annoy them, and they quite frankly can't annoy the little kids, because it goes both ways.
I'm sure it does.
It has a massive gymnasium in it, basketball gym in it. It has a games room. There's a family living area. Like, it's just a beautiful building. So,
and you said that'll be ready this summer.
So we are anticipating we are starting summer camp there.
Okay, I like it. Nice bold statement.
So, it'll be a rush to get it set up. Like, luckily though, we can kind of piecemeal the setup. And it'll be a rush to get it set up for summer camp, and then we're going to host a ribbon cutting on July 17th.
That is so exciting. Congratulations. So
Thank you.
really big things coming up here shortly.
Yeah.
Let's kind of, before we wrap up here, if somebody was interested in the dinner, how would they get tickets? And I don't know if we went through the date. You said it's this Thursday?
It's this Thursday, the 27th. Yeah. So you can go online and order at our website, bgcwc.org. You can also call the office, 301-733-5422, either of those ways. And
it starts at?
It starts at 5.
And it will be done by 7:30.
It will be close to done by 7:30. Okay. We'll be done in time to see a lot of the first half.
Okay, perfect. Well, Addie, thank you so much for going through all of that, and good luck with not only the dinner, but the ribbon cutting. And hopefully when we get closer to the ribbon cutting, we'd love to have you come back on and promote that event.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Let's Talk Tri-State, all powered by WellSpan, winner of the American Hospital Association's Quest for Quality Award, online at wellspan.org.
Let's talk Tri-State.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.